you? It's Barbara Morrow with Ancient Wisdom Trail. We are going live on YouTube this time, hoping that the connection stays solid. It seems to be a better connection. I don't see any breakups so far. I did a little 7 second clip earlier just to check it out. I was like, this will work. It'll be good. So yesterday on Facebook, we did a live video and we had shared some teachings on breakups and what to do and what to expect. And I was really thinking about that last night, just the amount of information that was shared in such a short period of time that I wanted to elaborate more on it, just to have more understandings of the human behaviors that go on with it. Because a lot of times we feel like we're being isolated or we're being trapped. And I wanted people to know that it's to be in a place of being okay, knowing what to do when you're feeling like you're being isolated, you're being trapped, and different things going on. It's really, really important to keep yourself balanced and in a place of being okay with it, because after you go through any type of breakup or any type of loss, you will go through a grieving process. And the grieving process affects the mind, the body, the spirit, and the emotions. Not only that, but the exterior factors like the environmental, the people, everyone or anyone that's getting involved or adding to it will also affect what's going on. And so that's what we're going to share is the breakup information. I took a bunch of notes that I'm going to share, and I also asked people on Facebook if they had any specific questions they wanted answered. So that's what we're going to go through. So anytime you're going through a breakup, it affects the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotion. So it's an internal thing and an external. The internal is all of the things that you go through. You go first through the shock and the trauma. And if something that's leading up to a breakup, then it's the processing of all of the human behaviors. We have a tendency to blame. And the key with this is to take responsibility for your own choices and your own reactions or responses, whether it was mature or whether it was immature, because a lot of times when two people come together, it has to do with finding love. You're looking for that love, acceptance, being wanted, and being unconditional. And sometimes we don't see the layers of the icing come off the cake, and it can happen right away. It can happen over 6 months or a year. I remember many horses sharing with me the best thing you can do is be best friends for at least 6 months to a year before you take any steps further. And this will allow you to get to know each other to see if there's any red flags. And there's all kinds of red flags that happen in relationships. I took a bunch of notes on that, which I need to find, and I can share some of those things that you'll notice as red flags from my own experiences and from doing some research on it, because I'm just looking for paper. I just wanted to, okay, so I'm just going to go from my memory. I just wanted to make sure that people are aware in those times when you're getting to know someone, if they show, mood swings, constant judgments on others, kind of like they're really nice 1 minute, and when people are around and when they're gone, it's like their mask comes off and they get moody, or they go back to where they were. It's kind of like they have two personalities, one where they present themselves in public and one where they're reality behind closed doors. And a lot of times it's or you can see it if you're talking to them and they're getting a little bit upset with you, and as soon as someone comes around, a child, a family friend, whoever, they just switch at the drop of a dime, like nothing's happening. And or throwbacks, anything that you do that's completely innocent will be thrown back in your face. Even hurting animals, as simple as hurting animals or trying to hit them with a vehicle or having a negative intention with animals. So that's also red flags. And so it's always important to get to know the person, ask them what their upbringing was like. How did mom treat dad? How did dad treat mom? If you're going to be with a woman, how the mother treated the dad is going to indicate you how this woman is going to treat you. Same thing with the woman. If you're going to choose a man, how his father treated his wife is how he's going to treat you. So it's important to get to know them, to know a little bit of their history, ask them specific questions so that you know what you're going to walk with. Ask them, what was your upbringing like? Did you have a loving home? Was there alcoholism? Was there throwbacks? Was there any type of dysfunction? And it's not to use it as ammo just and tell them straight out, no, I don't want you. It's just to understand this is the type of behavior that's in their memory cells and their DNA, and they're going to carry that on. Sometimes it's understanding also that people have these memory cells and the memories in their subconscious, and they will do them unknowingly, kind of like watching TV and you're trying to ask your old man or the person you're with or even your father or whoever it is, hey, can you help me with this? And they snap at you and they don't realize they're snapping at you. And it throws off the energy, and the person who's receiving the energy is upset now because it's like, what did I do wrong? In reality, you didn't do anything wrong. What happened is this person saw this growing up. It's normal to them and they do it without realizing. And the trick is when things like that happen is to go back and start paying attention to your own human behaviors and correcting yourself so that when it happens in front of you, it's not going to hit you. When they're done being in that energy, you can talk about your own experience about how I corrected myself with that behavior so I'm not snapping at people or I'm not being moody. Um, so red flags will pop up, and it's not to be used as ammo. It's just to understand, should I not be with this person? And a lot of times when you're in that, if they come up and you can bring it up after the fact, not in the heat of the moment, because it's just going to cause more friction. So just wait for the energy to calm down and then talk about yourself with teachings. And um, so when you go through the breakup, it's really important to be aware of what people say, because people will kick you when you're down, and they'll tell you things like after the fact, things that you should have known while you were with them. Well, this is what I saw, this is what I witnessed. So this is when you have to draw the line and really let them know. It's a little bit too late, that we're already done, so I don't need to know this. Excuse me. So what happens is I've had to tell people I'm responsible for myself and my choices and my actions. And what they do is now none of my business, or what they have done is none of my business. So I don't need to hear this. If you want to know how I'm doing, then ask me. But I don't need to hear this information about this person that I was with. And if we had mutual friends, I would tell them, listen, whatever happens in my life is my business. So don't go running to them and tell them. And don't come running to me and tell me about their lives, because right now I'm in the process of disconnecting and healing and grieving from this loss. I don't need to know their business, and I don't need you giving them information to use as ammo, especially if that person is balanced or not, or if they're angry. If they're angry, they're going to use any little bit of information that they have against you to use it as ammo to do like I told you so, or something simple like that. It's a revenge tactic, and you don't want to get into that headspace and start playing with those games and getting involved with the mind games, the manipulation, and basically the immature actions of a human being. You need to keep your maturity. And depression is when we go through a breakup, that's the mind connection. The depression um, it happens when we're used to being with someone. We're constantly having like a dopamine withdrawal. So It's like any type of drug user, they go through a dopamine withdrawal. So anytime you're going through a breakup, it's just as bad as a drug withdrawal, or when someone passes over or anything like that. You have to retrain your brain to be happy, find happy moments. Like even if it's for after many persons went home, I was like, yes, I'm going to town. I'm going to go get a McDonald's coffee. It was just something to look forward to, is the finding the simplicity of happiness in the moments to help release the chemical in my brain. But simply going like, yes, you could feel it in your brain. You can feel like a sensation in your brain where your body's releasing that happy chemical. So you got to retrain your brain to release it instead of depending on something outside of you to bring you that happiness. So it's retraining yourself to see what happiness is, and kick out that old Walt Disney version of happily ever after, because that stuff just isn't real. Happiness is moment by moment. What we want in life is to find something that's fulfilling, giving, caring, that's going to last a lifetime. Happiness is a part of it, but it's just moment by moment. You can't expect that immense excitement and happiness feeling to last forever, because reality is, um, things come up, outside influences, our own inner baggage and stuff like that comes out into any relationship that we have, and we have to learn to correct ourselves and be aware of it so that we don't put it on someone else who's completely innocent. And go back and look at our own past trauma, watching adults in our lives on what they taught us with relationships in action, and writing them out. And when you write them out, it's like, yes, I did that one. I admit it. I let it go. Yes, I did that one. I admit it. I let it go. And then you just cross them out. So in the process of writing them down, you might have 2 or 3 pages. You admit every single one of them and you let it go. And then after that, you research what healthy relationships are, clear communication, what reactions are and responses are. You research immaturity and maturity, unhealthy relationships, alcoholism in the family, the effects on childhood to adulthood, um, residential school syndrome, what the effects on our people and how it's carried forward in our daily lives, and we don't realize that even the act of gossiping is a part of that. And that is the part that we have to deal with in relationships, is everyone else talking about it. And in that, they're not realizing that they are adding negative emotion, layers and layers and layers and layers. When your family gets involved, your friends get involved, coworkers, everyone's asking, everyone's concerned. Some people are adding negativity. Some people are lying for the spouse, or you're just sharing your stuff and causing more negative energy to go out there. So anytime you want to share stuff, to say it's important that you share in the beginning. What I am sharing is the absolute truth, which is the exact facts of what I witnessed and what I've gone through. Everything that I'm sharing, it's to express what had happened in facts only. I'm not bringing their energy in or any negative energy in. I'm just sharing this as a teaching so I can help myself. So it's important to say those things so that the negative energy will not, because what you talk about, you bring the energy in. So if I'm going to sit there and talk about, if I talk about many verses, the spirit obviously is here. But even with a human person, if you're talking about them, you're connecting your energy to them. So when you say I'm only talking about it as a teaching, that energy is not going to come in. That energy is not going to come in the house. You're not inviting anything dark in your house. So that is just you speaking about your own exact facts. And for me, I do lots of talking to myself, to my guides, mirror talk, and writing and researching to put the pieces back together of what happened in the relationship. Where did I goof up? And I can see it play out, like it's like a plot line. And all you want to do is put the pieces back together and understand what really happened. And you'll come to realize all of the teachings that I had and this person had. We came from 2 different backgrounds, 2 different upbringings, belief systems, and there was a clash. So, and as much as you come from a place of teaching and sharing what you know, if they don't understand or they don't want to change or they figure they know it all already or they're scared of it, it could be any kind of reason, you'll find that they won't work with you or they'll resist you. And if you share teachings, they might take it personal, or they might say, you're saying this about me. But and many times what I've learned was it doesn't matter what you present as facts. It doesn't matter what teachings you're going to share with them. If they're going to take it personal, their maturity level isn't quite there yet. And it's not their fault. It's based on their upbringing and the traumas that they have in their body, the energy that is stored in their body, the memory cells, the DNA. So it's important to heal yourself so that you know that you are balanced, because the whole focus now is after a breakup is you want to fix yourself. You want to come to the realization, like, don't beat yourself up. Don't, like, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Don't, you got to get rid of guilt. You got to get rid of shame. That is a teaching that was brought to our people that doesn't belong. And it's actually a negative energy that keeps you suppressed, and it keeps you down to the point where you're not going to be willing to admit and heal stuff because you don't want to look at it. It's going to keep you in denial, and you don't want to be in denial. You want to be in that place where when you admit it in facts only, that it can lead you through your voice by admitting it. Yes, I was moody. I admit it, I let it go. That's who I was. I understand now how emotions work, so I choose to be calm. So it's as simple as voicing it. Um, and so with the depression, with the layers, what happens is depression, when you research and you break down the movie, the word depression means to push down and away. So it's an isolation feeling, and we do go through a feeling of isolation. We go through a feeling of not being wanted, a feeling rejected. Even if we did the breakup, we still go through that feeling, and it's normal to feel those feelings. So depression is everyone else's emotional energy on you, including yours. So it's important to disconnect from them every day. And what you can do is just say, I disconnect from everyone's emotional energies. And then you just chop gently. I send them all love and blessings. I'm only going to deal with my stuff. I'm only going to deal with my emotions. So that I had to do over and over and over again. Um, After I realized that people were sending a lot of worry, concern, and pity, they didn't realize it was a lower vibration that was actually adding to depression. So I wasn't mad at them. I just understand how negative energy works and how it feels on the body. That is actually it feels heavy, it feels dense. So cutting that information, start taking vitamins and minerals if that's something that you want to do. It's always an option, but I did took vitamins and minerals that were like brain food, like vitamin K2, omega-3, 5-HTP, vitamin Ds, definitely vitamin Ds, and also lots of garlic pills. So I made sure that I had those things so that I can help keep myself physically balanced, so that it was easier for me to process my emotions and to get my brain back. And I did a brain clearing video in the video I did yesterday on Facebook. It's on YouTube as well, how to clear the brain. So you can go back and watch that, and how to wake up your brain from survival mode back into normal mode. That's important to do every day as well. And also blocking people, not just your phones, not just Facebook, but I mean like the energy. It's like put your hands up and say, I block this person, and make a complete circle around you, like a 360, and then you come back around and say, I send you love and blessings. Your energy is not allowed in my sacred space. Your energy is not allowed in my home. Only divine love light energy is allowed in my sacred space. So that can be done to block people. Anytime they're thinking about you, they are constantly, when they're constantly thinking about you, they're constantly in your mind. Like even when I'm doing dishes and someone pops in my head, it's like, okay, nope. I pull it off my temples. Nope. I choose to focus on washing dishes. I said, I disconnect from you. I send you love and blessings, because right now I already understand everything that had happened, and I forgive myself. And in forgiving me, it's easier for me to forgive that person, because I had to realize I had to take full responsibility for every choice, thought, action, and everything that had gone into that relationship. And in order for me to come to a place of forgiveness, the admitting part is really important. Um, and so also finding help, watching this video, so you know that everything you're going through is completely normal. A lot of times we feel isolated. I know after one of the breakups I had gone through, the person had decided to tell everyone all of the things that I had done. So it was like, okay, from my teenage years until, say, I think I was 15 till 25, I dabbled in alcohol. And then after that, 25 to 35, I walked straight, um, research, advanced myself, did courses, did all kinds of stuff, and started going the traditional route because I really wanted it. I just didn't want anyone else to feel alone like me, like I had no place to go. So what happened was when the breakup had happened, the person used the information here and ruined my reputation here. So, and it took 5 years. My family, not all of them, but most of them turned their back on me. My friends, after I stopped dabbling in alcohol, I lost most of my friends. So it's like your energy goes up, you're expanding your mind, you're going up and out of old habits. So what happens is when you don't have that same mentality, your friends will just fall away. We didn't have bad breakups or anything. Like it was just I outgrew them. I had a different frame of mind, different thinking. I was researching, I was advancing myself. I understood history more, and so friends just kind of fell away. So I had very few friends and mostly family. So at that point in time, I felt really isolated, and I would have people come around and say, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about your kids? What about finances? The kids need a father. So they're putting all of these old core belief systems on me. And it's like, if I'm not safe with my kids, then my kids aren't safe. So it was about safety. So I had to make some hard decisions, and I didn't do it on my own. I talked to my guides and I looked at all the facts. I looked at the human behaviors, and yes, violence is coming back, or I'm not safe, I need to go. Um, and people don't seem to understand that. And it's like if I had stayed there, I would have been broken down again. And I'm teaching my kids it's okay to be a peacekeeper. It's okay to stay in a broken relationship. It's okay to take those human behaviors. It's okay to ignore it. It's okay to lie to myself. And I wasn't okay with that. So it was like I needed to face reality. So the decision that I made was based on all of the facts, all of the current situations, and it was based on my guide saying it's done. So that's the only time. And so after that is when the gossiping and the assumptions and everything that had happened. See, we had broken up 5 times before that. And all of the things that he had done with ruining my name, it's like, oh my God, I did that when I was a teenager when I was with him. Okay, I admit that, forgive me, I let it go. And then I would do prayers and send energy balls to clear that out of him with the things that I had done to him so that I wouldn't bother to hear it. Many horses said, just keep walking straight, just keep doing your prayers, keep healing yourself, keep researching, keep yourself in the light. Don't allow that energy to come in your sacred space. And I knew when excessive gossip was happening, even when I was traveling on the road, I knew when bad medicine was deliberately being sent. I could feel it and he could feel it. So we helped each other keep that clear out, right? So people don't realize that in large groups of gossip, you send a whole load of negative energy to a person that creates sickness. It can cause accidents. It can cause close calls. It can cause all kinds of negative things. So in those group gossip, you can actually cause people to want to not live anymore. And people are like, well, I don't know why this person left. And it's like, well, the immense gossip and lies and assumptions and bullshit that was going on. And if you understand energy and a person has no way out and they don't understand how the spiritual world works, that you can send death energy, you can send a death spirit, a suicide spirit to a person who's completely innocent. So it's really, really knowing and paying attention to and using the old ways and the modern ways and understanding the physical and spiritual worlds that they're both as one. You can't separate the two because emotions, the energy of emotions that leave the body is in this web of life, like the air in between us that connects everything. That energy knows where to go. It's not like a plane or a plane's going to fall. I mean, energy is going to fly through that life force living energy. Many horses called it life force living energy. Some cultures call it the web of life. Some call it the matrix. It used to be called ether, like all these different names. That is how prayers work. That is how ceremonies work. That is how miracles happen when you pray in groups to help people. But same thing with gossip. It does the complete opposite. So gossip is like negative prayers. So once you understand that, you need to start correcting yourself. And so getting help for yourself, taking charge, writing out what happened in the relationship and owning up to what you've done. So the vitamins and minerals, I had already gone through it. So it's important to maintain that, especially the minerals. Like you can buy trace minerals. You can get like Emergency. It has all the vitamins and minerals. You can get a tablet. I would suggest to go to a health food store because it's more organic, and they have a really big variety of brands. And I usually just hold them. Excuse me. So it's kind of like if I go there and there's two brands that are the same, I'll just kind of knock them and blow, and I'll ask for the vitamins, which one's going to work for me faster. And this one I can feel it go right through my body really fast, like, and this one's kind of slow. So I know this is going to work faster, and this is the one that's going to help me more. So you can use your feelings on your body to read vitamins. So it's important to start practicing those simple things so that you know what works for you, because every vitamin works differently for everyone based on the vibration that you have and the vibration of the plants that are in there. Now, when we go through these changes, like when we go through breakups, and there's children involved, it is so important to protect your children. I had to tell them, Mom and Daddy came together for love and we outgrew each other, so we're not going to be together anymore. It's not your fault. Because a lot of times if we argue in front of our kids and they don't see us make up, they're going to think that all relationships just have arguing. Our kids need to see the makeup part, where we talk about it and we bring it to an understanding and forgive one another. So we need to teach our kids those things. If they're not seeing it, like it was for me in the past, my kids just saw us argue and then leave and then nothing happened, and then we talked about it behind closed doors, then what had happened was now I'm only teaching my kids the arguing part about relationships. So now we need to validate for them that it's not their fault, because they're going to take those things personally. Maybe I caused it. Maybe I didn't try hard enough to make Mommy and Daddy make it. So you need to explain to your kids that it's not their fault, and really validate them and love them. And it's like, if you're going to be a single mom or a single dad, you got to be now both mother and father. And if you're not sure how to do it, there's lots of parenting books, but a lot of it is common sense. And so it's really important to keep up that side of working with your kids and to protect your home. You can have prayer ties up, put salt in the four corners, not just the home, but the bedrooms, because the bedrooms are where we sleep and we're most vulnerable at night, because when we're sleeping, our spirit sometimes takes off out of our body. We go to a dream state or we travel. Children and healers or people who are gifted especially do this. A lot of people do it and they don't realize it. So it's kind of like when I wake up in the morning and I'm groggy, because I know I was either helping someone in my sleep, or I was traveling, or I was fighting in my sleep, protecting myself, or someone out there that needed help. So you can have a nightlight in the room. You can have prayer ties. You can have sacred objects on the wall. I would say put it in the four corners and four walls. Whatever it is, just put protection up and ask all of them to connect. You ask all their sacred energy to connect, to create a barrier, like a bubble around the room, so that your children are safe. And you program it that only divine love, light, and energy, and your children's and your guides are the only ones that are allowed in there, and the angels and protectors and warriors and spirits that are only of divine love, light, and energy, and who speak the absolute truth. So it's really, really important to protect your room. You can put sea salt under your bed, like sprinkle like a steak, put spruce boughs underneath it, put cedar boughs underneath it. Just, you need to have your space protected. The light in the room is important, because darkness cannot dwell where there's light. And that's why you'll find a lot of kids like the lights on, is because it's a safety feeling. So that's really important for kids to know that. My mom used to give me a Bible and tell me to put it under my pillow whenever spirits used to walk in the room and I used to see it, or I had a bad dream. And what I learned later on was dark energy does not like the word of God, does not like the word Jesus Christ, does not like the word unconditional love, light, healing, energy, anything that has to do with bringing a person back into the light, they're scared of it. So because Jesus' name is all over it, and they speak of God and all the teachings, that kept me safe. And so I have a little mini Bible that I have at the head of my bed, and I pray on it, and I basically I give it a quick smack, and I pray on it, and I ask it to be balanced and healed and to protect me while I sleep. I also have sea salt between my mattresses. I have prayer ties in my room. So I make sure that while I'm sleeping, that my body and my spirit is completely safe. And also smacking my bed, kind of like I hit it. I love you. I love you. I love you. And what that does is if there's anything negative that is hiding in your bed, like old dreams, old sleep, any type of energy, any type of spirits, what they do is they'll wait in your bed until you're sleeping and disrupt your sleep. So spank your bed every night and say, I love you, so that there's nothing in there that can come into you or affect you when you're sleeping. And it's really important to have that and to do that every day. Showing your kids the simplicity of it. Many persons used to get a kick out of it because it would be in a hotel room and I'd use my sweater and be like, I love you, I love you. And he's like, I wonder what the neighbors think. So we would laugh. So, and clearing your kids, they're so simple when they're small to clear, because all you have to do is put your hands here and go, tell them to take a deep breath. They take a deep breath and you can pull the energy off them. And then you just swipe them down, one hand here, one in the back, and you go from their shoulders right off the feet. And then you can clear their head, and you can clear their face. You can even pull off their heart. And then you put one hand here and one hand on the back, and you breathe, I love you. All the love that you have for your children, all the love that you have for your parents, all the love that you can muster up is what you breathe into them from the other side too. You just breathe until you get chills head to toe, at least up to 3 flushes, and that fills them. And that's love is the most powerful protection that we have in the world. So you put that in your kids every day whenever they come home, whenever they're upset. If they come home upset, just touch your shoulders and just think, calm, I love you. And when you touch them, the energy is going to go down, and then they'll be able to speak what's happening, because a lot of times it gets stuck here. If they can't speak, pull off their throat and help them talk. So clearing your kids daily is important. What I used to do to them when my kids were sleeping was, if they were like crabby one day and fighting lots, my older two were lots of fun when they were small. So what I had done was I would talk to them when they're sleeping. I'd be like, tomorrow we're going to have a great day. You're going to get along and you're going to laugh lots and you're going to help me clean the house. So I would be really gentle, and the next day, sure enough, they would be happy, get along, no fighting, and it was great. They were working with me to help. Like I would clean up with them. So it wasn't me just telling them. So I would actually do it with them. And one thing I had told my children was, no matter what happens, you love both mom and dad the same. I had to explain to them, mom and dad only do what they've learned growing up in their younger years. And until we learn to heal ourselves, that mom and dad are going to repeat those patterns. So I would explain to them how healing works with memory cells, with energy, and how you can pull the energy out, and how a person can be more aware and change their behaviors and catch themselves and correct themselves as they go. That healing, the energy and the healing can happen right away, but it's the human behavior that needs to be corrected. And if they don't have those basic teachings, that they're going to continue doing it and not be aware that they're hurting themselves and they're hurting the kids. So I had to explain to them, no matter what, love your dad. Because too many people are gossiping and hating him and putting him down, and they're like, oh, this is what he had, this is what he doesn't have. It's like, it doesn't matter. All your dad needs is one person to love him. That love is going to protect him enough so that he can be successful in his life, that he will have a chance to be a good man again, because he is a good man inside. He just has lots of trauma, and he doesn't have a way of getting that out or expressing it. So right now, that love is going to help him. And you ask for the blocks to be removed. I showed them how to use energy balls to remove blocks in front of him, because in gossip, people will put blocks there. Oh, this person's only going to be a drunk their whole life. Well, guess what? You're programming them and yourself. So get rid of that so that they have a clear path. They have a chance. And when you do those good things for other people and you train your kids to stay in the light and how to use energy and prayers to help them, then what happens is that goodness is, I didn't even think about it then. I just did it because I knew he needed it. But that is what the energy that came back onto my path. So I'm grateful for that now. And right now, like my kids, I keep asking them questions about their brother and their sister, and I let them know kids are completely innocent. If your parent chooses to have another child, that child is innocent. You don't make that child pay for the parent's fault, because everyone needs a chance. Somebody prayed for me. Somebody gave me a chance. Somebody believed in me, and this is where it ended up me today, is being in a place of loving, peace, kind, and all that good stuff, because someone gave me a chance. Somebody prayed for me, and I remember the um, first time I learned about, a lady had come up to me and basically told me, Barb, I pray for you. I'm like, you pray for me? Like, and I wasn't a praying person then. Well, I was in my mind, because the thoughts that you have when you talk to yourself, your guides hear you, it's another form of prayer. I was kind of taken back, and it's like, that was the one person who prayed for me. She's the one that helped me, and she has no idea. And there's probably others that I'm not aware of. So it's amazing that even that energy helped me at that time when I didn't understand it. Now I understand. So I do lots of prayers, and it's like, please send lots of blessings to everyone who's prayed for me. Send it back tenfold, because they deserve that, because every little prayer that someone does for you helps you in a good way. And so what I've learned, my auntie used to tell me, she's like, if someone says something to you in your face, just be quiet. And I'd be like, oh my God, you know how hard that is for me not to defend myself. Basically, she said, when if you're not wearing any type of protection and someone's at you going rah, 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 as soon as you open your mouth, their energy goes in. So you're taking on their negative energy. She said you're taking their sin. So once I learned about energy, and it's like, okay, so now I have protection on. I know about energy. I do prayers for protection, that anyone that says or does anything negative to me, it's going to be blessed and purified and go back to them as knowledge, wisdom, tools, and solutions. And the same thing for myself. So and the only reason why the energy is going to come into my sacred space is if I've done it before. So what I learned was, if someone's going to come up to me and say something, if it affects my human rights, my spiritual rights, my rights as a woman or even a man, um, then I can speak up for myself. I can educate. But it doesn't mean I have to go at them just as hard. The only time anyone said, if someone's screaming at you and giving you crap, you can hit them with that energy to bring them down. But he said not to, it's like to disable the energy, because sometimes you have to match it. And so I learned all of these different tricks from him with understanding energy, so that I can protect myself. And I have had to, in the past, give a person extreme shit for affecting my human rights, my rights as a woman, and my sexuality. So I had to lay the law down. And I wasn't nice about it, because I educated them very firmly, you don't ever do that to me. And now I'm a monster. But you know what? That's my teaching. That's my lesson. And that energy, if it comes back to me, then that's something that I'll deal with when it comes. But I've already admitted what I've done. I've admitted it. And so when you admit it, you clear it off your path. It doesn't come back. And and basically, don't go out of your way to make your ex's life hell. You do your own thing. You take care of yourself. You grieve. You do lots of self-care, like breathing I love you, clearing yourself, crying to release. I mean, there was nights where I sat and I cried for hours because I was lonely, and it's just like, okay, I could do this, piece of cake. And one of the things that many horses taught me when he was alive, which helped me after he passed away, was in those moments where I was very, very lonely and I was sobbing and couldn't cry, it's like, that's when you raise your arms and you tell Creator, I accept the loneliness within me now. And because when we deny it, it gets stronger. So I was like, okay, Creator, I'm lonely. I accept it within me now. I would keep bringing it in, and it made this huge loneliness feeling inside of me be a little tiny thing where I can manage that feeling now, and I can write and do research and do other productive things. Same thing with missing. I'm missing many of verses. Please fill me with, I accept the missing within me now. And just, I accept the missing within me now. And I just kept doing it. And it lessened that feeling, and I was able to manage and, okay, I'm trying to release, I let it go, and all of these different things. So those are the things that you use to help yourself in a good way so that you're not in denial. And don't deny you're missing. Don't deny you're grieving. Don't deny that you're lonely. Because when you deny it, it gets harder on you. And you don't want it to be hard on you. You want the process to be easy. You want it to, okay, this is normal. What I'm feeling is normal. And what I'm going through is normal. And I know what to do about it this time. I'm not stuck alone. So you use all the tools and understanding with psychology of human behaviors that we only do what we saw growing up, and then we can heal it and admit it. So even in our grieving process, it's a good time for us to sit back and do research. I mean, for myself, I did a life skills course online, and I did lots of research in human behaviors of understanding immaturity and maturity and communication. Like, as much as I've done research in it in the past, I redid it because there's always new information out there. And I watch all kinds of self-confidence videos, and I watch all kinds of self-esteem, and then it's like, okay, so the life skills online course I took was what helped shift my body and shift my brain. It's like, I get it now. I already knew it. And I kept looking at many person's picture, and I'm like, oh my God, you needed like a doctorate. You needed more than a damn degree. You were so amazing with this knowledge that you helped me with, because it just helped me put my pieces back together. And just remember, whatever energy you give out to your ex or someone that you don't like, it's going to come back to you. So be very aware of how you think and talk about them. Always directed that I'm talking about it as a teaching. I'm not inviting that energy, and I don't want it to hit them or hurt them. I'm just speaking in the absolute truth. The absolute truth is exact facts without emotions. This is what I went through, and this is how I'm going to get out of it. So, and the times that you're very emotional, I know when I was going through great loss, after I had lost the little one, it didn't that the connection was unstable. It's back now. So in that process of losing the little one, I was depending on someone else to help comfort me, and I realized that they didn't have the maturity level or the understanding of what grieving was, and they haven't done their own. So I was in it on my own, so I did it on my own, and I learned that grieving is an internal process. You can find people that have the same commonality of you and understanding, but when you're doing it, it's actually a process that you do alone. So you can find groups, you can find people that can relate to you, but when you're in that deep emotion, in that grief, in that time of releasing and trying to release and processing emotions, it's by yourself with your guides. Like, physically, you're alone. So learn to be okay with grieving on your own, and if you find support, great. If you have someone to relate to, great. But don't depend on them to help you through the process. You have to learn to depend on yourself and use the tools that are there to help you. And after a relationship is done, grieve for a year. Give yourself a year to heal. And once you do all the initial work and get through you come out of the fog, you do your writing. Like, what I did was 5 letters, all the raw emotions. Like, I was pissed right off, and oh God, I wrote that out. Then I wrote the missing, and then what the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and the regrets. And then the next one was what I saw in the future and what I wanted in the future. And the last one was everything you taught me. So these are all the negative ones you get rid of. And the last one is everything that you taught me. So you flip it now. The brain registers the last 2 to 3 words that you hear. So if you notice on my writing on Facebook, my last paragraph is the negative topic and then the positive topic. The positive one is the one I'm trying to get into your brain. It's kind of like telling a child, don't touch it. It's hot, don't touch it. They hear touch it, so they're going to go touch it. If you tell them it's hot, leave it alone, they'll hear leave it alone, and they won't touch it. So children and the brain, it's really amazing how it works. So adults, it still works for us. So all of your last things that you should do should be a positive input. Get rid of the negative, put goodness in. And so there's those letters. Grieve for a year. And if you choose to take on another mate, it's the same thing. Be friends for 6 months to a year, get to know each other, watch out for red flags. If you're willing to learn with each other, grow with each other, and help each other, great. If they're going to walk away and ignore things and not talk about things and communicate, then that's the foundation to how the relationship is going to go. And you don't want that because it's very stressful on the body. And you don't want to go through that. And if your children ever say, Mom, I don't like him, or I don't like her, or I don't want you to be with him, I don't want you to be with her, you listen to your kids because they are still connected to the other side and they can sense and see things that you can't as a parent because you're blinded by love. So the blindness by love, when you fall in love, that's when you got to take a step back and say, okay, now I have to face reality here and see what the red flags are. And if this person is a good match for me, if they're going to walk with me and grow with me, if they're not, if they figure they've known enough or they learned enough or they're being disrespectful or they're not listening or you're not listening or there's lack of communication or there's blaming and stuff, then you don't want that foundation. So you want to be in a place where you are safe and your children are safe. And that year alone gives you time to get to know you again. What do you like? What do you like wearing? What do you like cooking? What do you not like cooking? Maybe you want to go do something new that you haven't done before. And it's a whole new freedom getting to know yourself when you're by yourself because now you can be yourself. And for me, my kids get to see the biggest, nerdiest side of me that only many horses saw because we had an amazing connection. So my kids get to see me sing in the bathroom out loud when I'm in the shower or walk around and randomly dance or say silly things. So those are the things that I'm able to show my kids. This is who your mother is. I'm actually a really fun person. I'm very knowledgeable, and you don't have to, if they're upset or something happens and I show them a different way, I show them how to admit their feelings. So I use the experiences as it happens to teach them and to show them another way. So it's really amazing. So your children are amazing assets to you. They will help you even when I'm bawling my eyes out and crying. Like I remember I was sitting there on the couch and I was crying and Naren came down and sat here and my son Lane stood over there and they just surrounded me while I cried and I just told them, I'm just crying to release. I'm just releasing old frustration, pain, and sadness and missing. So, and they stood there and when I was done, they both came to me and they hugged me. So children just know, like it's so amazing. My boys are so amazing. They're so loving. And I know when they were smaller, I hugged them a lot. I said, I love you a lot. If they cried, I'd wait till they're done and then hug them, and now all of these things that I did with them, they're giving it back to me. And it's like, this is so amazing. And the love when they hug me, I feel the chills. I feel the genuine love that they have for me. And that in itself, after I release the crying and they hug me, they're helping me put love back in. And it's just like, okay, this is amazing. So my kids are amazing. They're assets. I said a different word. They're assets and they're amazing. So they will help you. Um, and what I've learned is when I don't go out and just talk about what happened. If people ask me, I'll tell them facts only. Um, if so I don't add on to the gossip. So I don't deliberately go out and tell people what they have for yourself and your safety so your children are safe. And that is key, is to making sure that you're balanced enough and you're in a place where that your kids can still come to you, you can still parent, you can still be an amazing person when you're in those places. So your kids will always know when to hug you and they'll know when to touch you. So don't push them away. Just if they want to hug you, let them hug you because they see you need love. They see you need healing. Um, so yeah, so don't ruin names, don't ruin reputations because when you put that out there, you don't want that stuff on your path. I was going to say shit, but and deal with your own stuff. It's really important to deal with your own stuff and to process your emotions and to take control of your mind, correct your mind, use delete, 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 replace it with something positive. I shared that in other videos. To process your emotions. I'm feeling sad, I let it go. I accept the missing within me. I accept the loneliness, pull it in. Um, Taking vitamins and herbs to help, saying yes all the time to any slight goodness to retrain your brain to release its own dopamine, doing the letters to help yourself, when I did the letters, that really helped me finalize things where I'm like, holy smokes. A lot of times it's the regrets part that's stuck inside of us. I wish I hadn't done this. I wish I hadn't said this. I'm sorry for this. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. I found that the one that made the biggest shift. So it's the raw letter, what you miss about them, the regrets, the shoulda, coulda, woulda, um, what you wanted and missed, or what you wanted and saw in the future, and everything you taught me that's positive. So remember, all of those tricks will help you through this process. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You'll find that things won't be so stuck in your heart. And if it feels like when you're talking, it gets stuck in your throat, pull it off. If it gets stuck in your heart, put your hand over your heart chakra and pull it off. If you feel stuff in your tummy, right, make a big circle and pull it out. Put love back in. If you feel your head's going wonky or your thoughts won't stop, ground yourself. Put your feet on the ground and ask Mother Earth to take off the negative energy, to bring you to a place of grounding and calmness. And these things, I'll show you. I have them on the floor. They're sea salt slabs. You can get them at a metaphysical store, health food store. You can ask them to order it. And what I do is I have one for each foot. After I'm done a show or before I go to bed, I put my feet on it and it grounds me. And that helps me get to that place of being focused again so my brain can actually slow down so I can sleep at night. So it's really important to use all the tools that you have available and research all kinds of self-help tools that's going to help you, because every little bit's going to be a piece in your tickle trunk that's going to help you be a balanced person inside out. And that's the key. Okay, so I'm going to end this video for now, and then I'm going to do another short video with the questions that everyone else asked for, because I wanted to just this to be based on relationships, and we'll go live again in about 15-20 minutes. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening. I love you lots. I disconnect from you and I send you lots of love and blessings.